Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. 12 years. 12 long, exhausting, emotionally draining years. I had poured everything into my marriage, my time, my energy, my hopes, and my dreams, only to have it crumble before my eyes. I remember the day I signed the papers at work. My hands were shaking as I held the pen. My stomach twisted into knots. This was it. The end of a chapter one thought would last forever. She walked into the room like she owned it. The same confident smile, the same calm voice that had once made me feel safe. But now, all I saw was a person who had taken everything from me. Not just my wife, but my life as I knew it. And the worst part? She got it all. The house, the car, the savings, and to add salt to the wound, full custody of our children. I remember staring at the papers, trying to comprehend the words on the page. Full custody granted to the mother. That one line hit me, like a punch to the chest. I had spent years being a good father, staying up late when the kids were sick, helping with homework, attending every recital, every soccer match, every school play. And now, she would make all the decisions. She would decide what they ate, where they slept, how they spent their days without me having any say. I wanted to shout. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell the judge, the lawyers, anyone who would listen, that this was wrong, that I was just as capable. But no one cared. The papers were signed, and my voice didn't matter. The whole process had been a nightmare. She had planned everything meticulously from the moment she decided to leave. She had friends who encouraged her, co-workers who whispered ideas in her ear, and a lawyer who knew how to twist every argument to her advantage. Meanwhile, I was blindsided, thinking we could fix things, that maybe after all these years, love or reason would prevail. But it didn't. I try to remember the good times, the late-night talks, the vacations, the laughter in our living room. But those memories were like fragile glass. Beautiful, yes, but impossible to hold on to without it cutting you. They seemed almost mocking now, reminders of what I had lost. And then came the shock of reality, the day I had to leave the house. Every step through the rooms felt like betrayal. My bedroom, the kitchen, even the kids' rooms. Everything was hers now. The smell of home felt foreign. The walls, once comforting, now felt like they were closing in on me. At work, people noticed a change. My colleagues tried to be supportive, but no one could really understand. They offered sympathetic words, but sympathy doesn't fix custody, doesn't undo a broken marriage, doesn't erase the feeling of being robbed of the life you built. I remember one moment vividly, sitting alone in the parking lot after leaving the office, staring at my car, feeling the weight of 12 years pressing down on me. I realized something then. This wasn't just about losing a house or custody. This was about identity, about realizing that the person you trusted the most could take everything and leave you standing in ruins. Yet, even in that moment, something inside me refused to break completely. I felt the first spark of determination, cold and quiet at first, but undeniable. I might have lost the house, the custody, the life I knew, but I hadn't lost myself. Not yet. In the weeks that followed, I tried to piece my life back together. It wasn't easy. Every routine, every habit reminded me of what I had lost. Even the smallest things, walking past our favorite coffee shop, seeing her car parked in the driveway, hearing the kids' laughter from the other side of the phone, cut like knives. I started focusing on work, throwing myself into projects, late nights, extra shifts. But no amount of overtime could fill the void. Money, success, recognition, none of it mattered. My life had become a series of empty victories. And yet, I kept going, because stopping wasn't an option. Then came the hardest part, the phone calls of the kids. At first, I wasn't sure if I could handle it. "Hi, Dad," they would say, and my heart would ache in ways I couldn't describe. I wanted to be there, to hug them, to tell them everything would be okay. But all I could do was sit in my apartment, staring at the screen, hoping my voice could somehow bridge the gap. She had control over everything now. She controlled the schedule, the visits, even the narrative. I tried not to hate her, tried not to let anger consume me, but it was impossible. Every interaction felt like a battle. Every word carefully weighed, every move scrutinized. I felt powerless in ways I had never imagined. Friends offered advice, some practical, some not. You need to fight, they said. Take her back to court. But the truth was, the system wasn't built for fairness. It was built for whoever played the game better. And she had played it expertly. I had been too trusting, too blind to realize what was happening until it was too late. Despite everything, life forced me to move forward. I started small, weekend projects, reconnecting with old friends, even taking a few trips alone. Every little step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, I began to feel like myself again. One night, after the kids had gone to sleep at her place, I sat on the balcony with a glass of water, staring at the city lights. I thought about the future, not the one I had planned, but the one I could still shape. It would be hard, painful. Loneliness would be my companion for a while. But I realized that life doesn't end because one chapter closes. And so, I started to rebuild, not for her, not for anyone else, but for me. I took control of the things I could control, nurtured the parts of my soul that had been neglected, and learned, slowly, to forgive myself for trusting too much. Because in the end, the only way forward was to find strength within, even if the world had taken everything else. 12 years had taught me one thing. Even when life shatters you completely, there's always a way to rise again. It may not be the life you imagined, but it can still be a life worth living. And one day, maybe, my kids would see the man I became, not just a man who lost, but the man who survived and found a way to be whole again.